Stop. Hey guys, it's Kendall Jenner, and this is my life and looks, and I'm really nervous because I don't know what's in here. Oh my gosh. This is 2007, and we are at our Keeping Up with the Kardashians Season 1 premiere. I think I was like probably 11 years old. I remember these dresses so well. Kylie and I always had matching clothes. My mom and Courtney had a children's clothing store called Smooch, so we would always go there to get all of our clothing. I'm pretty positive both of these dresses were more than likely from Smooch. Kylie's little pose here, she's working. She was so confident when we were younger, and you could just see it here, and I'm just like, ooh. Oh, 2014. This was my first high fashion show, and it was for Marc Jacobs. I actually could not believe that I was there. Weirdly had little nerves, and I think it was because my shoes were relatively flat. They weren't some big, tall heel. I was pretty chill, even though my boobies were out. I remember going into my agency and kind of getting like a walking lesson because I didn't necessarily know what I was doing. I think I took tips too seriously and ended up being really stiff when I got on the runway. I've learned a lot since then. She's just a little girl here, and I love to see it. I had just turned 18. I remember getting a call from my agent saying that Mark and Katie wanted to put me in this kind of sheer top, and I was like, I'm game. Like, I don't mind. Like, I'm all good with the nipple. So it didn't make me any more nervous. I genuinely was just like, dope, whatever they want, it's their vision. So let's do it. I was completely comfortable. My first Met, 2014 Met Gala, I was wearing Topshop. I was sitting at Topshop's table. I felt really beautiful this night. I look at it now and I'm like, oh my gosh, I look like a baby. But I felt like a woman. I was using Kim's hair and makeup people, so I was like, I feel like I'm embracing this woman side of me, and it's so funny to like look back on this moment now and be like, oh my God, you were just such a kid at the time. I remember driving to the Met, and I had not learned the trick of having a Sprinter van on the way, and I was in like a sedan, and I had to like lay in the back seat because my corset underneath was so tight. I was definitely really nervous. The only person I really knew there was my sister Kim and her husband at the time, and so I was really just going in on my own, and it was really scary. I warmed up immediately once I got to my table, and it all was good. And then my sister Kim is so nice. She just kept coming and checking in on me. Are you good? Are you good? Now I get to go with all my friends, and it's the best thing ever. Okay, I believe this was 2015. This was for American Vogue. It was shot by Matt and Marcus. It was the Alice in Wonderland photo shoot wearing McQueen. It was the first time I had really put on a proper wig where I was like, oh, this really looks like I dyed my hair blonde. I love working with Matt and Marcus. They just really pushed me, and I learn a lot from them every time I shoot with them, but I think at this point in my life specifically, I was learning so much. I was just sponging it all in. They threw me in there with Grace Coddington. Like, that's so crazy. It's intimidating walking onto an American Vogue set for one of the first times. This is, I think, a time in my life where I really felt like modeling was like working for me and it was taking off. I feel like so lucky to have had these experiences with some of the most creative, legendary people in the world. To think back on 2015 and just like how intimidating it all is at that time. I'm proud of her for doing it all and for pushing myself. I love to look back. I'm so nostalgic, so sorry if I'm getting sappy, but I love nostalgia. 2015, this was Givenchy by Riccardo Tisci. This was the menswear show. I remember the cobblestone floors were a little hard to walk on. I always felt like when I would walk Givenchy shows by Riccardo, I just like felt like such a cool girl. Obviously, he just has this badass energy and so fun to be a part of those shows. The best. 2016, my first Vogue cover, September issue. One of the biggest, if not the biggest, fashion cover you can get. It's actually a crazy story. I was confirmed for the April cover for this year, and I had shot it, done it. I was so excited, could not wait for it to come out. And a few weeks later, my agent called me and kind of gave me the bad news and said, your cover's not going to print. And I'm so sad on the phone. I think I had a tear come to my eyes. And he ends the phone call with, but you got the September cover. And I lost it, and I like broke down in tears, and I was just so excited. I just like couldn't even believe that that was gonna be me on American September Vogue cover. I was just so filled with joy. I'd say this is a really cool moment for Matt Marcus and me, just because I feel like it was a moment where we really got to play and we had so much fun. I was literally going everywhere I could to find myself on the stands for this cover. It was a very big moment for me and I was really, really happy. Stop. This was Coachella 2016. This was the vibe at the time, okay? You need to understand. Would I wear this now to Coachella or anywhere? I don't think so. But you know what? I was feeling myself then, and that's okay. That's all I have to say about this. Like, we can move on. 2017, American Vogue, again by Matt and Marcus. As you can tell, we love each other. We have a very special relationship. I showed up on set. They had told me I was gonna do this. I was gonna stand on the horse and can you do this? And I was like, absolutely, this is so cool. They tried it out. They tried to make it all work and tried to make sure that the photo would fit properly and whatever. And it ended up not working out. What they ended up doing was they took a photo of the horse and then they put out like thin plywood almost and like set it on top of either side of like a stand, and I had to stand on the plywood as if I was standing on the horse, and then they photoshopped us together. So I'm so sorry for anyone that thought this was real. We wish it was, and we tried. It didn't end up happening to be real. V at the Met, this was 2018. I loved this Met. Virgil had just announced that he was going to be with Louis Vuitton. So he was in Louis Vuitton and I was in Off-White. We worked together really heavily on creating this look for me. Most of our conversations were over FaceTime, but you never felt like there was a disconnect. He always was putting all of his energy into it. So you always felt really comfortable and like safe in his arms in a way. My outfit specifically, I remember we went back and forth. We kind of loved the deconstructed, very raw feeling look. And we kind of both decided that it's Off-White and it was me and I'm a tomboy at heart. And it just felt like it fit both of us so well for me to be in pants, but to have the little train on the pant. We just had all these special Virgil touches that felt very much like both of us. I met Virgil through Kim and Kanye. We walked down the aisle together for Kim and Kanye's wedding with Louis happening and then now him being at the Met and us being able to go together. I felt like I was part of a really cool moment for him and that was such an honor. 2018, this is just me cruising around New York on a city bike. This was actually my birthday, November 3rd. I was in New York for, I think, the Victoria's Secret fashion show. On my birthday, I really just wanted to chill out and ride city bikes with my friends and just chill at a bar and get drunk. So that's what I did. I'm wearing a Saks Potts coat and some Yeezy sneakers and just some Levi jeans. Kept it really chill. I actually really loved this day. This is like one of my favorite ways to spend a day. It's just with friends, having fun, laughing a lot, and maybe having some tequila. Yes, 2019 Met Gala, the theme was camp. It's actually a funny story. So Kylie had committed to going with Versace and she came up to me one day and said, what if we just went together? Like, we haven't done the Met together, let's do it. And I was like, you're my sister, of course. Let's do it. Versace had already started doing sketches for Kylie, so there was already kind of a vibe there. And I was like, why don't we just riff off of kind of what you're going for? We had my sketches, and I think originally it was just the dress with a bit of feathers at the bottom, and that was pretty much it. The day before the Met, Kylie and I tried our looks on, and she had hers pretty much all dialed in, and I hadn't really felt like I was there yet. My stylist at the time and I, Marnie, she went in and just drew the feathers out and said, Versace, can you make this happen overnight? And they did, and they executed, and they did such a good job. You would have never thought that this wing that I had on was made literally overnight with the amount of detail that they had put into it, and it turned out great. My hair and makeup team, Jen Atkin and Mary Phillips, they killed it, and I think we just hit it so on exactly what we wanted it to be. Yeah, it all came together so nicely. Okay, 2020 Halloween was this one. I don't know exactly what year this was. Kylie and I just loved this photo. It would pop up on the internet. We would see it all the time. We looked so uncomfortable. And we just love how awkward the photo is that we were like, we have to recreate this. And so
We had a costume designer remake the looks in a more mature way, and we had so much fun. We were like, this is so funny. So then we have the bracelets, so we have the whole thing. We went down to the littlest details, made sure we stood really awkward and everything. So it was a funny moment. We loved it though. September Met Gala. This was Givenchy by Matt Williams. Matt Williams was my date. One of my idols, biggest inspirations is Audrey Hepburn. She always wore Givenchy. That was her thing in most of her movies, and just anywhere she really went, she was in Givenchy. I was like, let's do our version of something that maybe she's worn, and we pulled a whole mood board together. We probably picked our top 3 or 4 favorites from Audrey, sent them over to Matt, and he went to work with all of his sketches and came back with a couple different options, and it just turned out perfectly. It was extremely heavy. I won't lie, I wasn't the most comfortable person all night, but it was so worth it. Everyone is in that big giant room together at their tables, so you kind of like peep around and you'll see your friends and you'll head over and you'll say hi, but definitely the bathroom, you just end up there and you end up talking all night long in the bathroom, so it's a funny place for sure. You'd love to be a fly on the wall in that room. He also made me my after party look, and that was also inspired by Audrey. She had this beautiful moment where she's walking down the stairs in this red dress with this kind of cape thing behind her. So we did our iteration of that in like a short version. And he made it really practical for me because it had this big puff and like a cape on the back. And we made it so it buttoned on. So once I got into the party and I wasn't annoying for everyone to walk around, we just popped it right off and it was perfect. It went into my car. This was the Prada show, my first time walking Prada, working with Prada. They made my hair red, which was really cool. I was really excited about it. I was really nervous about it, like very much so damaging my hair because the blonde did, and this did not. My hair was very well preserved. It was such a fun change, a fun moment, and I loved my outfit. This coat, I mean, come on, is so good. It's Prada. It's great, obviously. This was in Paris. I was walking to go meet my friends. This feels like me. If I could wear one outfit for the rest of my life, it would be something along the lines of this outfit. These boots I bought, they're vintage, just like a vintage find, kind of cowboy-ish vibes, super comfortable. I found them, I think, at a vintage store in London with Luca, who's in this photo. I love his advice. He has very good advice. My stylist, Danny, and I have been working with each other for a few years now. We love like the classic 90s girl. Like we look at a lot of Kate Moss. I mean, even a lot of Jane Birkin, but I think the 90s girl is really kind of our space. The simple, very minimal girl, jeans and a t-shirt and keeping it really, really chill. You guys, I miss my red hair and I don't know what to do about it. I went back too soon, but if I'm being honest with you, it was hard. If anyone has fake red hair, you know there's a lot of maintenance to it. I'm definitely going back one day. Disclaimer, I'm going back because I loved it. And I look back at photos like this and I'm like, I miss it. So whatever. 2022, once again, this is in Portofino. We were there for my sister's wedding. I am in original vintage Dolce & Gabbana, head to toe. A version of this was worn by Monica Bellucci in 1997 at the Cannes Film Festival. So I felt super honored to be able to wear it. And it was just so cool. I loved this look. It just felt like it fit me and I was really comfortable. The material was super stretchy and comfy. We did not match on purpose. It just happened. We just walked out and we were like, this is great. I think so much of evolving in the fashion industry is really just like, I think people look best in what they feel most comfortable in and what feels the most like you. So I think, you know, within this book, what I see the most, at least because I'm looking at myself, is just my comfort level and me just evolving into myself. I look back at even just like the first little girl that we saw and how uncomfortable she was, even to the girl in 2014 at the Met Gala, and still just how uncomfortable she is. And then coming into this girl who's just like a lot more. I've like found myself as a woman. I'm a lot more comfortable with myself. I have so much work that has to be done for sure. I am not perfect, nor am I ever going to be. It's cool to see. And that is it. That was my life and looks. Thank you guys so much for watching. I love you guys. I love you, Vogue. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed.